Right, this one I think will surprise people. Freight fraud is costing Gebrüder Weiss hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and it's targeting your sales culture specifically. How does that work, and what are you doing about it? What type of fraud is this, firstly?
Yeah, it's mostly related to FTL, full truckload fraud, right? We invested heavily into full truckload about 4 years ago. We brought a director over, Kevin Sendry, and his team, and they've done an incredible job. I mean, they've just done an amazing job bringing this product into Gebrüder Weiss here in North America. But with that, of course, comes some of the pitfalls with the fraud situation. And over the last 4 years, of course, it's only become more prevalent in this aspect of our business. So I was a little surprised to find out that it was up to $600,000 what GW lost last year. And it's, it starts out simple and it becomes more and more sophisticated. So I can tell you, in the early days, they would call us. We're, advertising on Google or, inbound logistics or wherever it may be, and they call our sales guys and they say, hey, I got this urgent shipment. It's 2 skids out of LA. I need it in Brooklyn tomorrow. Right? Of course, we're excited. Boom. We don't ask questions. We pick it up. We ship it. We pay the carrier, who's got a legitimate motor carrier number, legitimate insurance certificates. Everything checks out with all the vetting tech that we have. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Everything checks, everything fine, right? But the salesperson doesn't ask, why do we need 2 skids of rice from Long Beach to Brooklyn in 4 days, right? So, turns out $7,000, absolutely double brokered. We paid the guy, the trucker never got paid, a situation we're out $7,000. That's how it starts. And how it's evolved over the last couple of years is what we have right now. And we get a call from a customer. They'd like to do some loads from Chicago to Ohio. Perfect. We do it. Everything checks out. The website checks out. The credit checks, MRC, everything checks out. So we're doing the loads. As soon as we post the loads on a trucking dial a trucker, a trucking board, then a carrier comes on and says, boom, they give us a very favorable rate for that. They check out, good history, everything vets, and we give them the load. Perfect. It's a legitimate shipper, legitimate consignee. The load goes, we get paid, they get paid, everything works. We do 2 or 3 of those. It works amazingly. Now, 2 weeks later, they tell us we have this new project. It's 10 loads, live loads, LA, Brooklyn, right? $12,000. We need it here. Boom. You get moving on it. Great. Good customer. We're ready to rock and roll. We posted on the DAT board. Their carriers, their accomplices are waiting for that. They jump on it. They give us an incredibly favorable rate. Everything checks out. Everything vets, motor carrier number, etc. Boom. We hire them, freight gets picked up, it's moving, they get paid, and what they've done is they've already brokered it to somebody else. They didn't get paid. We paid the middle carrier $150,000, right? And it's gone. It's done. That guy's gone. I've got cargo that may or may not be even legitimate at this point because they've drug us in with legitimate loads in the beginning. Right. And in most cases, they're not legitimate in the end. So you go in, you look, the executive, the CFO, everything matches with the legitimate company, right? But 2 letters in the last name, 1 letter in the first name and the email address. I mean, they're clever. They're sophisticated.
So very
and they're clever.
sophisticated.
It is, yes. And it's new stuff every week. I mean, we learn every week, and again, this is something that we take on for our customers. We have to make these commercial decisions, but we're learning through it. So, it's a very expensive lesson, certainly, but we are learning for it. And that's why I think it's important, again, for us industry peers, to share these stories, to get this stuff out there, because we're all victims. I'm just open about some of our wounds that have been inflicted, but I think it's important that we share these stories. It's not just us,
Yeah, sure.
GW is not the only one.